Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Black Tower Podcast, a Wheel of Time podcast. We are your illustrious hosts.
Daddy Mahale.
I am Daniel, your Amin Khan Mahale, also sometimes called Daddy around the
deeper,
Black
Daddy,
Tower.
deeper.
Daddy Mahale. Daddy Mahale. Oh,
Welcome
what an
to
intro.
the Black Tower,
from the
where
Daddy
we
Mahale.
are deep as fuck.
Can't even
See, I'm not necessarily sure if your microphone is fucking up again or if like you're actually doing that intentionally.
No, that was intentional.
Oh, okay.
I am your Sorovan Mahale. Goes by the name of Josh. Oshkosh the Josh.
And I am your Bajan Mahale. I go by the name The Benevolent at work, but you can call me Andrew. Because I get the shit done. That's not why you can call me Andrew, but you know, we're friends.
But that's
here. You
why
can actually
he
call
gets
me by
called
my
benevolent at work.
You can call me by my common name, I suppose.
My common. We don't speak his name in high chant. We speak his name in common.
You can call me by my jellicle name.
I'm sorry. Do you speak Celestial?
Jellicles.
Jellicle songs for Jellicle Ashaman.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's the show. I think we just delivered all like 2 hours of tape.
We're
right there.
Just
That's
jammed right into your taint holes.
Right into you.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Hope you're a little bit more mad than you were when you got here.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people are already more mad than when they got
They're
here.
probably very mad.
But
I cannot
hey,
believe they
guys.
would start this off like this. I didn't have my earbuds in, and now I got a meeting with HR. This is bullshit. Like, what did you expect? You've heard us before. Normally, yeah, we don't start that early. You know, normally there's a little foreplay.
That's
but
on you guys. That's on you.
So welcome to the next installment. Welcome to your next dose of madness.
we're in episode 8 of season 3 already. We're already in episode 8. Our episode 8. So we hit episode 8 before the TV show hit episode 8.
Yeah.
Oh.
We also started episodes before the show started episodes.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yes.
We're also in our 3rd season, so you know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually pretty sure that we've already been greenlit for season 4. So
You wait,
I don't know.
what's that? This just in. Black Tower Podcast officially renewed for season 4. Woo!
though I have to admit, as much as I don't want to talk about it necessarily, there may be some recastings.
I am the Donal Finn of the Black Tower Podcast. Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Not gonna lie, Daniel,
our guest.
that just caused a slight
the
bit of
best
panic.
intro, right?
No,
there.
don't
That's
do
it.
that. No, I was gonna recast me. I was just gonna have somebody else come in as the Amin Khan. I would never
He's having
replace
his,
either of you.
No, that's what I
Having
meant.
his ginger spice
Oh
moment.
God, no, not actually.
You're going nowhere. I got you for 30
Where you
whole
going?
years. 30 whole years of playtime.
So, for those of you just tuning in, we're at the Black Tower
Fucking
Podcast.
guy.
You know who we are. You know what we're about. We like to talk about the Wheel of Time.
And also
each
taint.
Episode, we like to taint you in the face.
And
with,
also the taint.
a different aspect of the Wheel of Time. And to help make the Black Tower Podcast a thing, we have help. We do. We have help. We have a fantastic sponsor by the name of the Crystal Barista. And if you go to crystalbarista.com or if you go to facebook.com/rockpick, all one word, ROCKPICK, then you get to see super cool rocks and crystals and minerals and subscription boxes and jewelries and all the shit, all the stuff that you could ever want with rocks. Just go get 'em.
Subscription boxes. I tell
It's
you
great.
what.
And she's been a great sponsor of the show, and we're
She
very
has.
grateful. And everyth's awesome. So
Yeah.
Everything is
But something
awesome.
else that helps us do
Everything
this.
is cool when you're on Crystal Barista.
Something else that's super cool that helps us out a lot and allows us to do some more stuff that we love doing, like sending out really cool stickers based off of the nicknames that we gave the 5 great captains and all that kind of fantastic stuff, is through our Patreon. Head on over to blacktowerpod.com. You can find links there to all of our merch, our episodes, the Discord, as well as our Patreon. where if you don't have any and we know you want some, you can get some of these fancy coins,
Which
at our
if you
dedicated and
are
Ashaman tier.
if you are either in the dedicated or Ashaman tier for last month, your coins just went out today.
Oh,
So-
today being Tuesday the 7th.
Yes, sorry, Tuesday the 7th, because today is not necessarily today.
Yeah, those are en route. Some folks have already gotten their stickers. If you are overseas from the perspective of the US, there are shipping delays. It is en route. Everything was mailed out like
Probably
on the
stuck in the Port of Long
the
Beach.
first Monday. So actually, no, it was mailed out like last Friday, Thursday or Friday, whenever I posted the picture in the Discord. As
It was a
well
lot of
as
stickers.
the
It was great.
yeah, it was 25 stickers that I mailed out.
Holy
I
shit.
spent $71.
Uncle Agelmars. Damn.
I spent $71 at the post
Damn.
office
Damn.
because I was like, look, I'm going to need a lot of stamps. So I went ahead and bought a roll of domestic stamps and a sheet of international stamps. So, which I'm more than happy to do. I don't give a shit. I'm happy.
I didn't hear that as a complaint. It was just a surprise. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was too. And they were like, yeah, I was surprised too. And they were like, oh, yeah, your total is $71. I was like, of the places I thought I would spend $50 or more, the post office has never been one. But, you know,
And that's
it's there.
why the post office doesn't turn a profit.
Also, the merch
That was also
style
sarcastic,
benefits
by the way.
for dedicated and above patrons, those were all ordered as of midnight on the 5th. If we had your size, then we ordered the size that you gave us. If we didn't, we defaulted to a men's large. So
So some of you
hopefully
may be
that
getting sleep
works for
shirts.
you. Yeah. Some of you may
Some
be
people are
getting
gonna
sleep
get a
shirts.
shirt
Some
that
of you may
doesn't
be
fit.
getting
And then
you
they're
may be
gonna
getting
put their
shirts for
size
like
in their
your cousin or your like children or something like that.
That guy
But
in a little shirt.
stocking stuffers, gift
Hey,
ideas.
Get out of
Christmas
my
is coming.
wardrobe, Daniel.
No,
Heyo.
No.
I
But
refuse.
But if you're
So-
interested in any of that kind of stuff, head on over to blacktowerpod.com. You can find all of our links for all the stuff we do, as well as a running playlist of our 5 most recent YouTube videos and podcast episodes. A lot of times they're the same, but there's differences in there, and you should go and check them out because, you know, we put work in. I don't know how much work, but we put work in. And we make
Indeed.
stuff for free. And so all of you that support us, we can't thank you enough. And I don't think we could ever say it enough. But
Yes, thank
This
you
episode-
so much.
we're not talking about a bunch of successes. We're talking
We're
about
talking about all the
something
fails.
potentially
One
completely the
big
opposite.
fail.
Jesus.
and to help us talk about Faile and to potentially break up some of the kind of think tank similar mentality or thoughts on Faile, we brought in a fantastic friend of ours, a fantastic other podcast member. We have with us, of course, the fantastically fabulous Daylin from Loial's Book Club. Go ahead and say hi and tell the people about what you do and yourself
Hi.
and the answer to
I'm-
life.
42.
So first, the answer is 42.
Yes.
First, I'm the only gay in the Two Rivers, or on Twitter, or you've seen me around here farting around as Prince Dalylin's husband.
Pretty sure the
have a-
TV show would beg to differ.
Oh.
I'm fairly certain that Barney Harris is one of the gays in the Two Rivers.
Matt, if they have been like kind of like sneaking that shit in, so if they make Matt just a little gay,
He's
I'm
not a little gay.
done. Little gay, little gay,
A little bit.
just a little gay.
I mean,
I
he
just
did. It might just be because they're such good friends, but when he was like, think Dana would be into it, I was like, this guy.
Oh yeah,
This fucking guy, Ray.
I mean, Rand would be like, because he said if I was going to pick a man, if I could pick a man, I would do better. And I'm like, so yeah, I'm like, so there's an if there.
So you're saying there's a chance.
If he's
There's a
good.
chance. I mean, if Moraine,
Boyfriend and
could
girlfriend
land,
eventually. You're not
yeah.
saying no.
if Moraine could land both Leandrin and Swan home, and probably Alana, Rand could get a boyfriend.
Did Moraine land Leandrin?
Oh, didn't you see
I mean,
Leandrin? Like,
I think Leandrin wishes
Oh.
she did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I definitely felt like Leandrin wanted to
There's
get
more
all
than
up in
one
them
turning in
pillows,
this wheel.
right?
Oh no. But I do have
What's
a
that?
podcast
What's
called
that dog that slept in your bed every night? Mean thing to call Swan.
I know. That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, oh, say that again when Swan's here.
Anyway, but
Like,
no,
oh,
sorry.
So
anyhow.
let's do this.
I have a podcast called Loial's Bookclub, which is a first-time reader podcast. My friend Eric and I, we are now on chapter 20 of The Fires of Heaven. He has no idea what's coming at the end of this book.
Only 11 more to go.
I know.
That's so
We
many
started-
chapters. Daylin, you are so hasty on your podcast.
We started with
A long
chapter, like,
handle
40
on your
something.
read through.
That's what they've all said.
Ew.
I don't know what that was.
No, that was good. I liked it.
Thank you. So we started fairly late. We started in chapter like 40 something of the Dragon Reborn. Like we didn't start from like the beginning to beginning. We're gonna loop back, but it's after we finish A Memory of Light. So at that point it'll be a spoiler-filled podcast, just talking about like here's all the foreshadowing and stuff. But we're taking a little bit of a break. We did record an episode reacting to the first 3 episodes, but we might be doing a re-recording. But we have a Discord server. I can drop the link here somewhere. We're gonna eventually be back up regular, and there is a plan to, when we get to do my 12, to have the Black Tower Boys on there. It's gonna be lit, because that's gonna be an experience.
Wait, who are those?
I know those guys. I'll put in a good word for you.
They're, I don't know, some
Star
small little
Lord,
podcast.
legendary outlaw.
Come on, man.
You're not wrong.
Star Lord.
We are just a small little podcast. So
Just a tiny little fun. Did you have fun doing your skits? Did you have fun? I like to say that after a show I didn't like. Like, you guys had fun up there. You little skits. You did a little light.
You did a couple of nice funnies up there. So it's all right.
Gave me a chuckle. Good job.
There we go. Excellent.
Yeah.
So where can the people that definitely need to go and give a listen, where can they find Loial's Book Club other than the link in the description and show notes?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, a couple other platforms, but I'm going to tout those 3 because I'm hoping for a sponsorship.
Nice. Also,
Dream big.
if you're listening to this right now and you're not going to the notes for the show notes and you're plugging stuff into your like address bar right now, stop it. You're better.
Get some help.
Get some help.
You can just go to the show notes.
Get help.
And click on a link. It's easier than https:// Stop it. Stop.
Yeah. And clicking on a link works, because when you click that link, you hear your
Actually, I'm pretty sure that when you hear your link, you just hear Leandrin yelling shit at you.
Oh my god. Link with me, sisters.
Those are pretty good Leandrins. I liked that. That was nice.
It's pretty good.
Kate Fleetwood is getting pretty good.
It's borderline Bjork and transatlantic actress. Hello, Logan. I'm going to gentle you right now on the authority of the White Tower.
I love it.
Yeah.
So before we get into Faile, which is the topic of this episode, we're going to go ahead and hit you with that fantastic with that fantastic spoiler warning from our good friends over. You recognize their voices from the audiobooks of The Wheel of Time, Kate Reading and Michael Kramer. Give the warning, please.
This episode contains spoilers from the entire Wheel of Time series.
If you have not read the series, you are at risk of being spoiled.
You have been warned.
Short, sweet, to the point. Just like flicker, 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 flicker,
Brilliant.
flicker, flicker, flicker,
Flicker,
flicker.
flicker, flicker. And if you like the flicker scene, go to our merch shop and get our flicker and flicker and flicker and flicker and flicker shirt.
Indeed.
On the New Creations by Gen 1.
On
That's
the
right.
New Creations by Jin.
And for all you ladies out there, if you like a good flicker, go to adamandeve.com with the promo code Black Tower 15.
Dude, it's
Black
Tower.
my God!
No, we're on Black Tower 21. What are you talking about? 15.
I thought it was just called BTP Flicker.
BTP flicker.
No, that's the name of the
20%
product. It's the Black Tower or the BTP Flicker. Yeah.
And instead of a spoiler warning, it lets you know when you're about to come.
So I'm sorry.
Warning.
It comes
Climax imminent.
It comes in one flicker, it comes in 2 flickers, and if for the really adventurous, it comes in 3 flickers.
And on the third flicker,
so welcome to our show. I thought we had delivered all the taint. I was wrong.
Josh,
It's got an alphabet mode. It's got a windshield wiper mode.
and if you pay
it has a
extra, you
heartbeat
get
mode.
Michael Kramer's Loial's voice when he's announcing you're about to come. Don't come. Don't be too hasty.
That's its overheat warning. Don't be too hasty.
That's when you put it on to the high speed too long, and it's just like, hey, chill out.
You have outused this for 5 times in a row. Don't be hasty.
You need to get yourself a man, or maybe a woman. I don't judge.
Look at this setting. Make your man never want to leave.
Sex
your
toys that
setting.
shame you.
Flicker
my
me
God.
harder.
You
Daddy.
really need a girlfriend.
And for you
pathetic
abstinent
loser.
people, get the Cat Swain extension. Ah!
Okay, let's do this.
It spits back.
Oh, so that's how this episode's gonna go. Sweet. Oh, I'm happy.
Guys, we need to go ahead and contact Doc Johnson right now.
Right.
Oh,
This is
fucking
not
now.
okay. The fact
Amazon,
that
we understand there are some merch ideas that you can't directly deal with, but the 4 of us here, just let us know. We'll interface
the Chode keys.
Stupid,
for the
shut up.
adventurous BDSM community, the Adam.
Oh, yeah.
Get an Adam for your Dom.
Ooh.
AdamandEve.com.
I like
it.
So today's episode is actually
Guaranteed
not
release
about
after 3 hours.
No,
the
it
kink
definitely is.
community.
Yes,
Today's
it is.
episode-
Faile is the kink community.
Is
Are
she
you
is she
kidding me?
kinky? Faile is kinky.
Throw me up against the wall and yell at me, Daddy. Like, what are you
Touche.
talking about?
That's
Of
just the
course,
natural reaction of parents.
Touche.
I mean, I'm
You
not
thought we
saying
were just
you're
being,
wrong,
like,
but also,
Curvy. We're actually, this is like a perfect segue into like
Right?
one of the potentially kinkiest characters. Well, not kinkiest, but most openly kinky characters
Yeah.
in the series.
Well, you know,
that's all.
and so the funny thing is we actually did talk about when Perrin met Daddy Dabram
Mhm.
and had to explain that, oh yeah, me and your little girl are intimate, and what an awkward conversation that must have been. Intimate.
No, it wasn't. No, you know that it wasn't.
I feel like the
Bashir
Chaldeans are just
Bashir is totally the cool dad, where he was like, he absolutely had the shotgun to pretend that he was like mad at Perrin, and that like, that's my little girl. But then like the second Perrin was like, I love your daughter, man, and she's the best. He was like, yeah, no, I understand that. You do realize that she's a Chaldean, so you're gonna have to slap her around a little. And Perrin was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Sorry, what?
Yeah. There are some things to Chaldean culture where it's very like, okay, I need this fleshed out. And Robert
primal
no.
things there.
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
So are we saying that Faile has big brat energy right now?
Yes.
Very much so, yes.
Oh.
So Faile is a character.
So that means that even though he's Wolf Brother, like Perrin is not a full primal doll.
No.
Like, but he gets pushed to a point where he switches from just your boyfriend or your husband, and then after a certain amount of just pushing the buttons, he full flips into primal dom.
Yeah.
Well,
And I mean,
Perrin is the Perrin and Faile relationship is absolutely a switch relationship. Yeah. Most of the time, Faile is on top, but when Gaul comes she gets play, really happy when Perrin flips.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Just saying.
So just as a quick introduction, because most people know who Faile is, but we probably have some people here who would like a little bit of a refresher.
There's like Faile, one person who's like, who the fuck are they talking
actually
about?
A really great character. Now hold on, let me finish, because I can see the pitchforks coming out already. I really love Faile as a character. Specifically because she annoys the hell out of me. And I feel like anyone can love a good character, but it takes truly great writing to get a character that you're sincerely and genuinely annoyed with. But Faile also has her qualities. She has some absolutely breathtakingly sweet moments.
Yeah.
And so I am really excited to actually talk about Faile, because she is, like I said, she's very annoying like 80% of the time. But that 20% where she's just the most amazing woman in the world is just, it's fantastic. And I'm really excited to talk about this.
I have to admit, I actually kind of, I hate agreeing with you. No, but honestly, it's one of the things where those moments are brought out so much more clearly because of the fact that she's a little brat 80% of the time. And so I think that you almost kind of need that to make those moments that
100%
fucking sweet. Anyway.
So for Daylin. Me, I like Faile.
Yes.
She's but I don't find her annoying. Like I did on my first read through of the series, where I kind of went, okay, you're here, I guess, you know, like very much how I felt like.
All right, Mandarb, chill out.
With a lot of characters, I found I didn't like them until very late in the game. Like I didn't like Matt until A Crown of Swords. I didn't like Egwene until Knife of Dreams. I didn't like Faile really towards the end of the whole kidnapping arc. But now that I'm kind of going through the series again, I've gained a new appreciation for these characters. And I've liked Egwene from the beginning a lot more now, as I have Matt and even Faile. And I think the big consistent thing is, while I've really enjoyed Faile, I have never liked Perrin. And I think that plays a little bit into why I do enjoy Faile a little bit more when it's the early stages of her and Perrin's relationship, when there was nothing attached, where I'm like, oh, you could have been really kind of a fun buddy cop almost.
Right.
Where like the sort of Nynaeve and Elaine buddy cop in Panchico, that would have been really fun to have with Perrin and Faile. But then Robert Jordan went, no, but what if they're in love? And I went, oh, no, that's a really fucking bad idea. Oh, you're doing it anyway. Oh, okay. Because Faile is she's 17 years old, and I think she's one of those, I know everything because I've been I traveled all the way to Tyr by myself, and I can tell you what's what. And it's like, great, you're a child, but
I know some things because I've seen some things. Oh, you? Have you though?
It's a lot like Elaine, I think. Elaine leaves Camelin and goes to the tower. And while both of them do have that royal upbringing, Elaine does have this, I know everything there is to know. And then meanwhile, she like gets into deep shit sometimes. I think Robert Jordan does a good job of playing with naivete on all ends of the walks of life, with like Faile, Elaine, Gawain, Galad, and then with our Edmund Fielders, where there is a little bit of like, oh, gee, trust this random stranger. Oh, fuck, it's a black sister. Well, you know, so I think that's one of the running themes. And I think seeing that there is a huge naivete to Faile, but there's also a strength there that I think, because we don't really get a lot of her POV until really towards the end, I wish we got to see a lot more of, you know,
Oh, okay. No, are you done with your thought? I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, I was just gonna say, her and Daylin are two characters that I think Robert Jordan had great potential with, but he Daylin was a really interesting, politically savvy person who used her body in a very cognizant, I know what I'm doing way. And then he kind of just made her breast boobily for 10 books. And kind of with Faile a little bit, where I kind of wish we got more, because I think her and Daylin could have been a cool fucking team, but I think he did too much. There's a whole thing, especially with the kidnapping that we'll get into, but
sure.
You go on, Andrew.
I would agree with the general three statements to the effect of, let me minimize Discord because that's going to distract the fuck out of me.
Are those real?
I doubt it.
I don't care. I don't care.
They look convincing.
Anyway, that she is a well-written character. I think any character that causes you to have an actual visceral kind of reaction is a well-written character. And I think that Faile was written for that purpose. But looking at Faile as a person or the character of the character, I don't see her shining moments as like revelations of her true character. I see them as exceptions to her true character. For the majority of the books, I can't stand, and I find myself doing the same thing to Faile that I do to any time anybody puts forth any bill or legislation. What are you gaining from this?
Right.
I am inherently suspicious of everything she does. I don't trust anything she does at face value, especially in the first read through. I do in the second read through because obviously I can't get rid of the bias of knowing how things play out. And I think,
right.
All that being said, I think she genuinely does love Perrin and does want to be a good girlfriend and eventually wife to Perrin. I just think she spends too much time in the quintessential terrible high school partner.
Oh my, yeah. Their relationship is very much like the couple you see, you're trying to get to your third period, and they are fully making out in the hallway. And then they are having a screaming match at lunch.
At fifth period, yeah.
Fifth period, he is, yeah. No, and I fully agree with her. I think because again, it's that con of we are seeing her through Perrin's eyes, and I think we don't get
his eyes are golden. How could it be wrong?
And I think like the pro of that is we get inside Perrin's head and see how he functions, but the con of that is I think I started siding with Faile a lot in The Shadow Rising because I like her slapping Perrin and him spanking her and that shit, that was a little too far. But I do get the anger in her where it's like, you can't trust me. I think communication, lack thereof, is one of the things in Wheel of Time that I think frustrates me a little bit, because I think if Perrin had been a little more flat, honest with her, saying, I have to go back to the Two Rivers, the White Cloaks have something against me, this is it, then I think there could have been a little bit more. But also, I don't blame Perrin, because Perrin is, I call Robert Jordan's upbringing and how it's sort of reflected with the Two Rivers, the okie smoky sort of classic sort of gentleman chivalry sort of thing, where I think it's with Rand too, of how Rand could never harm a woman, and, tied into his trauma as well. I think the way Perrin treats Faile as delicate when she's kind of sort of said, no, let's talk about this. I'm an adult, 17-year-old child who took a road trip by herself.
Hey, she's 18 and a half by the end of the books.
Yeah. So
I mean, my biggest problem with Faile is sorry.
I was just gonna go into like what she looks like and where she comes from.
Well, before we go into that, since that's getting more into like the core of exactly who is Faile, my biggest problem with Faile is, and I said this before we started recording, I readily admit that at least 70% of the reason that I can't stand Faile is that I have dated Faile. Like, and it activates that visceral part of my brain that wishes I had a time machine to go back and slap the shit out of myself. But one of the biggest things that I can't stand about Faile's character is, for a good 70 to 80% of the series, her 100% unwillingness to accept that she needs to accept part of Perrin's culture and not just try to strong arm Perrin into accepting her culture.
Yes.
Right.
And that comes from that kind of like highbrow, I'm a noble, you're obviously a peasant, you don't know anything about this life, I know this life. And it's like,
I think
no, the first time you met him, you lost all bragging points because you said, oh, they call me Mandar. That's the name of the fucking horse.
Yeah, that is funny.
And I think, I mean, it shows her immaturity. I think that's the kind of thing that I picked up, is she's a little immature. And I think you are 100% that's correct in that there is a lot of, well, in Saldea, the men do this, and it's like, great girl, he's been fucking farming, picking berries and fruit since he was a child. Like, I don't know, like, when Perrin
pretty sure he was hitting more metal things than picking berries. But yes, I agree. The statement is still true regardless.
You don't forge with raspberries? What the fuck's wrong with you?
No.
I think
I brew with raspberries, but I don't forge with berries.
Fair enough.
Telling someone who was not born in a culture of war and military that they have no choice but to adapt to it, without kind of explaining, like, hey, like, I think it's Ivan who kind of says, you have, like, you're leading these men, you have to learn to care for the living, you have to kind of push forward. I think that is kind of what Perrin needs, rather than Faile going, well, in Saldea we do this and you need to do this, and it's sort of like, okay, can you chill? He just saw someone's head in a tree. Like, this isn't like we aren't like playing Nerf guns over here in the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
people are dying. I will admit that that's actually one of my biggest problems with Faile as well, is that overall, as Josh already stated, I think that she's actually a relatively well-written character. In fact, to be completely honest, I actually think that Faile is one of the best written characters in the series. I also think that the way she's written is just so obnoxious that it makes it really hard to like her. Even
that was
though
the intent, I'll agree with you.
Down and objectively look at the way that she is written and the way her story is told and the communication that Robert Jordan does, from getting the character that is in his head to being inside your head, is actually pretty masterfully done.
Yeah.
But as stated, Faile spends so much time going ahead and undermining her husband because he's not doing things right.
But in Saldea, we.
Yeah. And Perrin, I mean, you can absolutely, without a doubt, hide behind a certain amount of you can't help who you love. Yeah. And Faile is absolutely from a particular style of life. And it has a lot that comes with it because it's not a simple life. She has a very complex upbringing that has made her who she is. She then falls madly in love with someone who is almost as different as you could possibly look for.
Yeah.
And then goes, cool. So how do I use everything that I was brought up to use on this country bumpkin blacksmith? Oh, wait, who also happens to be Taviran.
Yes.
And again, the reason that I can't stand Faile as a character, the way that she is characterized, is that she knows all of those things and it takes her way too long, as Andrew said, to adapt to the changing situation. And she just kind of hides behind, well, but I know more than you. And I'm from a different place where my life was more complicated and I've been taught more. and my culture is what I know and what I like and what I'm doing, and you can't help who you love. I just happen to be in love with you. And you're like, that's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. He is also very stubborn, but he has made a lot of concessions to you by like 2 books after you're introduced, and you don't start making concessions to him until like 6 books after you're introduced. And you're just like, fuck, dude.
And I want to go ahead and put this out there for everybody listening, whatever, whether you like Faile or not. I mean, it matters, but not necessarily in like a who's right versus wrong thing.
Yes.
Everybody has the full agency to like or dislike characters.
Correct.
Exactly.
Now, the common thing is be able to at least back up why. If you can give a reason why, that's not just, well, they're annoying, then fine and fantastic. And the same thing goes for the TV show. If you do love the TV show or you hate the TV show, that's fine. Where the problem comes in, and I'm only saying this because we've seen so many people garner hate for saying they don't like a character or they don't like things about a character. It's where the problem comes in is whenever you either try to force everybody else to agree with you on what you're thinking, or you sit there and you condemn people because they don't believe exactly what you believe about characters, about the TV show. So don't do that. Don't be that kind of Leandrin. All right. Just don't do it. So if you're listening to this and that's kind of where you're at and you're like, I can't believe Andrew, I'm going to write an angry email, by all means, still write it. That's perfectly fine. Back up your points and justify your points, because my educational background will allow me to fucking wreck you if you don't. But
and possibly even if you
this
do.
Is part of
again,
this is part of what makes
respect your opinion if you come into our email, if you can back it up.
That's part of what makes these discussions so fun. Is I, for 80% of the series, can't stand Faile and barely tolerated the remaining 20%. Daylin seems to like Faile a lot more than I like Faile.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. I just disagree.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things of you present good arguments and I am bound to listen. It's like when I got into debates about Egwene on the subreddit, the Wheel of Time subreddit, where I said I love Egwene and for all the faults, and just all the arguments were always, she's a bitch, she's awful. And I'm like, she is. However, that doesn't mean she's a bad character. I think she is a very ambitious person who allows her ambitions to overshadow her friendship, and she uses her friends for her own personal gain. That's a good, interesting character. And I think it's such a rare character to see in a lot of fantasy who is unabashedly ambitious. And I think that's the beauty of a lot of Robert Jordan's women, is that you have different women of varying moral
fiber
on different sides. Yeah, you have women like Maren Alvear and Mr. Sluan and all that, but then you have women like Cadsuane, Egwene, Faile, characters who are all the characters are very emotionally complex, and you can kind of sort of see where they're coming from. You can treat it with a thanks, I hate it thing, but at least you can be able to get the argument behind
I hate them.
While they are.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's so weird that there's so many characters in the Wheel of Time that mirror the real world.
So yeah.
Like,
I think you've got a really great point there, because Faile, we've already given the spoilers, so I'm just going to jump right into examples. One of the things that she does, which is directly against what Perrin says, she straight up says, yeah, I know that's what Perrin wants. I'm going to do it anyway because it's what needs to happen. And that is the assassination of Massima. Perrin says, Rand told me to bring Massima. That's what I will do. Now, Perrin, honorable, loyal,
shit, but
naive as fuck. But he says, I told Rand, I gave him my word I would bring Massima, and that's what I will do. Perrin watched Massima corrupt Aram. He watched Massima gain followers and just be a regular piece of shit.
Yeah.
And still would not.
He did not see Massima being a regular piece of shit. He saw Massima being a monumental piece of shit. But yeah,
so there's an interesting comparison there.
End,
so look at the comparison we have between that and what we've seen so far in the TV show. If you haven't watched all the way through episode 5, probably now is a good time to, fucking wait until you watch episode 5. What are you doing with your life?
Not actually that long.
I loved
5
my
hours
girl
make it
boss
happen.
gatekeep gaslight Faile. I love when she killed him. I was like, go girl.
Think about how Faile is reacting towards Massima. And then think about in the show and in the books how Leandrin is reacting towards Logain.
Uh-huh.
They are saying the exact same thing. The difference is we have to see with our own eyeballs what Massima is doing, the piece of shit that he has become under disguise of being a good person.
They did. So she after the battle against the Shido, where she's been rescued, obviously Massima's forces have been decimated and scattered, and they're running around being all extra. And he's climbing up out of the dust going, well, shit. Well, now it's time to rebuild. Like I gotta unite my followers. I've got to do blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden he gets offed. He's dead. He gets killed. And Faile comes up and she's like, I done ganked this bitch and we're done with this. And everybody's like, won't Lord Perrin be upset? And she's like, I don't give a shit. This is what needed to happen. But she didn't do it. This is the important distinction that I would like to draw, because that annoys the shit out of me. It really does. But she did it because she loves Perrin, and she knew that Perrin would hurt himself because he's loyal to a fault.
Well, and that's
could
actually
not see what needed to be done.
Well, and okay, this is where I'm actually going to disagree with you a little bit here, because I think that life is better without Massima. I absolutely agree that life is better without Massima, and that if we're being completely honest, you are absolutely in some ways not complicit, but responsible on a very low level for whoever gets hurt between here and getting Massima in front of Rand al'Thor. I recognize that. I am not blind to all of that being true. However, that is what you just described is the reason I do not like Faile. You should not be making the decision for Perrin that he doesn't get to hurt himself to do the right thing.
And that's the quandary.
Decided that he needed to do this and was asked to do this and was sent on the errand and has already gone through so much to make this happen. And you take away his agency.
Yes.
And a lot of the shit that he's gone through for this purpose when you off the dude.
Yes.
No, and that is the kind of thing that Faile does regularly in their relationship.
And what I wanted to point out was her motivation for doing that.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So
now go ahead, Daylin.
I think we've seen, bouncing off those 2 points, we've seen a lot of Perrin doing a lot of sort of self-harm, in the sense of he has put his life on the line when it's kind of like, talk it over. Like, we're good. Like, I think Perrin, again, has this sort of mindset of, I will let myself take the blame for the many. And that is a noble quality. That is cute for a taste, but not for a swallow. Because I think Perrin has these moments when he wants to sacrifice himself for the White Cloaks. I think with the whole thing with Daylin, where he just lets her spread the rumor. Again, it's been a hot second since I've read the latter book, where he kind of lets that happen and doesn't take any action. Perrin is a very sort of passive character. So while I do get the argument of she shouldn't have killed Massima on behalf of Perrin, I think Faile is sort of the kind of strength that Perrin needs. And I don't like Perrin because I don't think Perrin has that much of a backbone. And I think Faile is Perrin's backbone in the sense of she will do what needs to be done because I think she's a little less afraid to kind of just go, fuck it, let's go. And I think that does have something to do with her upbringing. And I think a little bit of that. I saw Andrew got mad when I said Perrin does not have a backbone. I do think he has a backbone.
I have a point.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I think Perrin's backbone is made of jello a little bit.
So I have a point to that. Perrin is a calculator. He's a thinker.
Yeah.
He thinks and wants to think about the actions before he takes them.
Yeah.
And from my life experience, I value that because I have seen the effects of leaders I've had in the military that are just do, action. We got to get this done, so let's just do it. And seen it either not turn out well or have an opportunity where it could have turned out better had they applied thought to it. I will admit that there are definitely plenty of times where Perrin spends too much time thinking, because there is a thing that you hit a point where inaction is worse than bad action. However, looking at Rand's motive to bring Masema before him, I can see the merit in the desire, because you bring Masema before Rand, the Dragon Reborn, who Masema claims to be a prophet of and following everybody for, is forced to kowtow and kneel to the Dragon Reborn. Rand sends a message to all of his followers. He doesn't lose the followers because this is now the word of the person that Masema has preached. You need to follow and listen, and I am just a facet of his voice. But he also sends a message to the world that he will not tolerate horribleness within his name.
Yeah.
So it allows you to do, it would have allowed Rand to do so much, because at this point, Rand is focused on gathering troops and people to support the battle.
I love this episode.
That is Rand's focus.
Yeah.
So I think Rand's motive should have been carried out. I think Masema should have been brought before Rand. And I think it would have had better end results than, a scattered and decimated cult.
Go, Daniel.
Well, and that's actually one of the things that I think doesn't get enough credit in this discussion. Because again, let me be super, super, super clear. Let all of us be super clear here. You are not wrong for thinking what you think. Your opinion is 100% valid, as is everyone else's. And in my humble opinion, and my reading of Perrin is that Perrin actually has an incredible backbone. It's a different backbone than a number of other people, because his backbone says, I will get Masema to Rand. I will do the right thing, and I will have the strength of my convictions to make sure that I do the thing that I agreed to do and that I think is right. I'm not going to kill this man, which would make my travels a lot easier. I'm not going to go ahead and do X because whatever. Also, earlier on in his life, many different times, his inaction and his sacrifice of himself isn't necessarily a lack of backbone. It is him exercising his backbone in a different way. Because he says, I want to be the person who pain happens to. I think that's actually a lot of backbone, because it's not like he actually wants pain to happen to him. It's a bad thing. But he's saying, I would rather take the pain for me than make the pain be felt by other people. And so again, I'm not saying that those aren't like how you view backbone and how you view, stubbornness and how you view strength of convictions and how you, view calculating versus doing versus not doing versus all of that. All of that is very subjective. Sure. And so, when you say something like Perrin has no backbone, I hear what you're saying. And I agree with you if you're looking at it from here. I look at it over here and say, oh, actually, I think Perrin has a very strong backbone. He just does different things than other people would do. And so again, I actually totally agree with Andrew that it's impossible to calculate how much more good would have been done from X then more bad would have been done from Y.
Yeah.
And so it's given that you can't actually sort of do that as a just like legitimately kind of one-to-one cost benefit analysis, it's kind of impossible to say whether Faile actually did the right thing or didn't. Again, I think Masima probably really should have died, but I also think that it would have made an incredibly strong statement to everyone if Masima had been hanged by the Dragon Reborn. I also think that if his cult had shown up to Rand's place and Rand had said, cool, I'm hanging Masima and all of you either follow me or you don't and you go to jail, that actually takes care of a lot of problem versus a bitch ton of roving bandits who now don't have a leader.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm not saying that there's a good answer here. There isn't.
Well,
but
and that's
the point of
I think
debate.
there's just a lot of the differences in opinion on what is the best course of action. And Faile makes one decision and Perrin makes the other. And Faile's is just the one where she makes it happen.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I like Perrin's decision making, but sometimes it's like, okay, the waitress is coming back. We got to make the order now, girl. Like, just take the fucking moons over my hammy and let's go.
Right? God, I love that.
Yes,
you are my favorite right now. No, that's
no, and I appreciate the train of thought, and I think that's the nature, that's the beauty of debate, and I think that's the beauty of any well-written series is that there's no one definitive answer. There's no one viewpoint. There's no subject way to look at something. Like,
correct.
I think
we could spend hours slicing and dicing everything Faile does from different perspectives, because I think it's also a matter of we have two people who are from a military background, so that a lot of that will probably come to play. Or are you also military, Daniel?
I am not. No.
Okay, so it's like
I'm the one voice of reason in this group. Those faces are the whole reason I just said that.
So some of you have never faced a potential Article 15, and it really fucking shows.
What's an Article 15?
It's a non-judicial punishment in the military. It's like the most sternest talking to that you can get in the military before getting in actual legal trouble.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket, Arlie Gurney.
Something like
or
that.
Whatever. Yeah.
Something
making
like
you vogue outside
Napoleon Bonaparte.
It's like the Russian equivalent of being reassigned to a duty in Serbia because you fucked up where you were serving in Moscow.
So you have to do retail during Christmas time.
Yeah.
So
you don't get
Napoleon Bonaparte
anymore.
Napoleon Bonaparte once said,
"You are folding sweaters."
He did what to his bone?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Napoleon pulled his bone apart. What the fuck?
Napoleon Bonaparte once said that one bad general is better than 3 good ones. Now, the idea being is that a bad general will be making the decisions and fucking going for it. Whereas the 3 good generals will be sitting there debating and not really taking action because they can't decide on what to do. Now, I always viewed Faile as the one bad general. She makes decisions. Not all of them are great.
Oh, yeah.
But most of them are effective. She sets up a spy network. She sets up
when
a
you decide
train.
murder and then you commit murder, you're effective.
Well, also, again,
she
before
sets up a supply train for the last battle,
though. But does she? Because again, okay, but this is
she also wastes 2 whole books
stop,
being
stop,
a fucking
stop.
captive.
But I wasn't talking about the supply chain. That happens. I'm not talking about that. But again, Perrin made a decision. The good general wasn't sitting there debating. He made a decision. Just because she disagreed with the decision and therefore made a different decision doesn't mean that there hadn't been one made. If Perrin had been sitting there the whole time being like,
I hear you.
Should I kill Masima or should I let him live? Should I do this or should I do that? Then I would understand what you're saying, and I would agree. But he didn't do that in this case.
No, I
Perrin
hear
says, this is what we're doing. And she is directly insubordinate, not just making decisions. She is actively making the opposite decision to what's been made.
I meant as a layering over the entire story arc, right?
Sure.
Because
sure.
He also says, don't spy. And she's like, oh, yeah, sure. This is just Faile. They're good. Uses them as a spy network. And then Perrin's like, yeah, well, Master Balware over here is just my secretary.
Perrin is the tired artistic director of a theater, and Faile is the actor who did one UCB class.
I'm gonna be so drunk by the end of this.
So accurate.
Faile should have been captured. Faile and Daylin should have been captured. Faile should have been captured by Massima. If they are to amend this arc, I think to create a better conflict of interest, Faile should be captured by Massima, because Perrin has a sort of loyalty to Rand to get Massima. And I think if there is some malice there, I think this is something I thought about, because I hate the way Daylin is done, because I hate the fucking affair plotline. It's a waste of Daylin's character. I think if she breasted Boobily back into Massima's camp to get Faile free, and I think did that whole thing to make herself an exile in this sort of camp, in the Perrin camp, so she could go, okay, now I can go here, rescue Faile. And she goes, here's the thing, I slept with her, I made up a rumor. Faile can beat the shit out of her, that she should have done. Like this powwow Lilith Bear shit that happened in the book, I'm like, no, beat her ass a little bit, and then you're good. Like I've watched the fight videos, just beat her ass and you're good. Go get eggs or something. I think like
get eggs or something.
Right.
I think Faile.
I completely agree with you and also completely disagree with you in terms of the fact that I don't think that Daylin should exist, or I don't think that Faile should exist. Daylin and Faile should 100% be the same character in the show.
Ooh,
and the affair storyline should just be eliminated entirely because they don't exist. The other woman doesn't exist. And Daylin or Faile should just be the same character. And then we can still have the Shido do the thing, because that's fine. I don't give a fuck.
We don't need the Shadow.
I mean, okay, I'm also down with that. We can just.
I mean, we need them for at least one scene. A little thing called Demise Wells.
Yeah.
What?
No, if they all die at Demise Wells, I'm perfectly happy.
Or like if the remainder who are at Demise Wells are made Guy Shan or something. But actually, Daniel, I like the idea of combining Faile and Daylin.
No!
Dude, I've made this argument before, and Josh's head has exploded multiple
times. I really love Daylin.
Same.
I mean, I do too.
I think that they should just make Daylin Faile.
No!
It would make so much sense.
But you destroy Daylin and you make Faile actually like a somewhat decent human being.
Yeah, split the difference.
I would like Daylin.
I would rather split the difference than have Daylin be awesome but and like not present, and Faile be horrifying but always there.
I mean, that's fair.
I don't Daylin more if they gave her back her agency a little bit, because I think, you know, reading in The Shadow Rising, I'm like, oh, you're actually really fun. There's like that sort of like very well dressed, like very like she knows what she's about. But there's also a little bit of an edge to her when she like fucking karate chops Faile to the floor and goes like, "This is how we do it." Like,
dude, I could 100% see Daylin just slitting Massima's throat. It's fucking great. Like it solves so many problems.
She reminds me a little bit of like action-y Marjorie Tyrell a little bit. That I think if they put her in the show and they kind of kept that there is a little conniving, there is a little bit more to her, she would be a lot more of a fun character, and I think a lot more fun to play off of Faile, especially if they made Faile a more tomboyishness or something. I think there is something there that I think Robert Jordan kind of let fall to the wayside, you know? And don't get me wrong, Robert Jordan, I love books. I think there are just some things I think.
Love books.
I love books. I read books. I pick up a book and I look at the letter on page.
Okay, so
Josh, explain
my argument against Faile, I don't even know how to say that.
That's the couple. That's the couple right there.
Don't drive in the fail lane.
But there it is.
But
Right
that's a
there.
person.
Don't
Fail
drive
is
in
an
the fail
actual
lane.
person. You
I have
can't
to
do
leave the
that.
meeting now.
No, that's
I'm so
foul
sorry,
lane,
guys.
not
Foul
fail
lane.
lane.
Fouling. No, so
Yeah, and
okay,
it's also
so
Karene, not Kareen. So we're
Right.
fine. Chill out.
and Ninive instead of like that weirdo on TikTok. Anyway, here's the deal.
Bragger.
What's your name? Is it Ninive?
Ninive.
Oh,
didn't
I
quite get the
Cannot quite
accent.
place the accent. Because I never talked to you, bitch.
Faile is annoying. Okay, I want to be very clear. Faile is annoying as hell. She has a lot of, well, at my old school, we did it like this. Do you guys do it here like this? Because at my old school,
You don't even go
is-
here.
this is
Like
how
Miss
we
Thing
did it
on,
at my old school. This is how we did it.
like
The whole
Miss Thing
student
on-
populace
from the
says
Magic
no, and she's
Sword.
like, well, we're going to do it like this anyway.
You can't.
So
you
she's
can't
Arnold's
change my
cousin
mind.
from the Magic
Yes.
School Bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rhonda.
You,
right?
you will have a very difficult time convincing me that she was not instrumental in establishing Perrin as Lord of the Two Rivers, which ended up being a very, very good thing for the Two Rivers. Now, was she annoying the entire damn time she did it? Yes, she absolutely was. But it was still an effective result that had a positive outcome on the end.
Yeah,
story.
effective.
Listen,
But
this is
Oh
guess-
shit, he went for the book.
hey, Josh,
Hey, Josh.
Josh, you know
Josh,
who else was
your output
extremely
stopped going to Discord, by the
effective?
way.
What?
Your mic in
output
Discord
is
stopped
not
working.
working in Discord.
What?
You know who else was extremely effective, Josh?
all.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Just because you're effective doesn't mean that anything you did was good.
I also
Doesn't
did
mean you
stipulate
actually helped
that
with
brings
a
up a good
positive
point.
outcome
Like,
on the story.
but see, that brings up a good point, though. Like, it's a ludicrous comparison, right? To compare Jeffrey Dahmer to people, because obviously Jeffrey
is.
Dahmer really fucking bad.
Yeah.
But it highlights a good point. And in so many cases where you make an argument of do the ends justify the means, which is what
And
a
that's
lot
what I
of the
meant,
Faile arguments
Mhm.
for like someone for I say
Exactly.
a fair amount of the arguments for Faile's
Yeah.
actions are do the ends justify the means? And it becomes a slippery slope, which I know we in America are fucking sick of that phrase.
Oh yeah.
That if you start
Being Aspen, I'm
allowing,
tired of that.
if you start having
Thank
or
you.
allowing
It was a bad joke.
these these detrimental or these evil actions because the end effect is something that pushes what we want, like the pushing parent to act.
Yeah.
Then you get into this weird space where like, okay, well then anything is tolerable as long as it pushes our desired outcome, which I mean, I'm not really, well, on a personal level, I think is a horrible outlook on life.
Mhm.
But I don't think that anybody that thinks that is horrible, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
Like, by all
Yeah.
means, think what you think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so much
And it's
of,
not
like
ineffective.
the undermining.
It's actually very effective, even
Oh,
if
yeah.
it can become
Yeah.
very problematic.
She does a lot to force. She does a lot to force parent to act.
Discord.
But how much credit? How much credit do you get for forcing somebody to act whenever you remove all other options for them? Like
Yeah.
when you murder somebody in cold blood, you remove any other option.
Yeah.
So you force somebody to act in the manner in which you want. How is what
Wait,
Faile
Hang
does with Massima?
after he's already fucking dead.
How well? I mean, the White Cloaks could, but how is what Faile does to Massima different than casting compulsion?
Yeah, no,
In effect, in ethics, how is what Faile does to Massima different than somebody like weaving compulsion on Perrin and making him kill Massima?
yeah.
Which is the
I don't
example
have
we're
it-
stuck on.
No,
Yeah. I know I should have an argument for that, but I do not. But I do have an argument for. I think she is
Do
the
it.
voice that Perrin needs. I have an example pulled up,
Let's do
and it is my prime example for when people say I don't like Faile, and I go, "Oh, cute. Okay, here's my opinion, and you're gonna listen and accept it." It's the chapter Homecoming, and it's when Perrin finds out that.
Oh yeah, that's when everyone loves Faile. That's all of us fucking love Faile in that chapter.
What book is
keep
this?
going. Sorry, for those of you who don't intimately know this chapter,
I will read it out.
Please.
So the context is Perrin has found out his family is dead, and he's essentially Shadow Rising. And he's essentially gone, okay, cool, anyway. And he's not allowed himself a moment to grieve. He's not allowed himself to feel this. And finally, Faile stands up and goes, I have had enough, she announced. Perrin frowned as she stood and came around the table to him. Seizing his head, she pulled his face into her midriff. Your mother is dead, she said quietly. Your father is dead, your sisters are dead, and your brother. Your family is dead, and you cannot change it, certainly not by dying yourself. Let yourself grieve. Don't hold it inside where it can fester. And Faile, where... Sorry,
that's definitely not a well-used book at all. He does have a
cousin he didn't fucking know about.
Who fucking Greg Brady's it doesn't appear in the rest of the series. But Faile reminds me of, and I know I have no military experience, but I have read Malisand, so I think that's close.
Close enough.
What?
That does not count as military experience, but sure.
It's almost, and again, two people here with military experience, almost an antiquated soldier experience of grief for the dead. You gotta keep going. There's shit that we gotta do. And I think Faile, growing up in a very military-esque surrounding, has kind of instilled that in her. Of she's very blunt. She doesn't exactly make it floral and go like anybody. Yeah. And I think while it is harsh to hear in that moment, I think she is a voice of no, this is what you need to acknowledge right now, and that is this. Like when she says, when she doubles down on the care for the living, she says, yeah, you know what, that was sad that all those kids died, but guess what, you're still alive and you're not going to do any fucking good for yourself. And I think Faile is, again, whether or not we can agree on whether she was justified in killing Massima for Perrin. I, for one, loved it. Girl boss, gaslight, gatekeep. I think.
Did you just throw out a bunch of buzzwords?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just.
That might be the only time I've ever.
After you threw out those.
That might be the only time I've ever heard them used in the positive light.
Right.
But I think it's this idea of, I think while her actions and a lot of the things she does may not be great, but I think she is a certain voice in Perrin's life that I don't think he's hearing outside of maybe Lan or maybe sometimes Tam Althor. I think a more direct, blunt voice. And I think, like I try to give Perrin some credit and I don't give him a lot. With the whole Bear Lane thing, I think there is a lot of trauma connected to that because I think Faile was the one person he had that was close to him, and I think the trauma of losing his family is still with him, and I think losing Faile played a huge part in that, which I think why he was so sure. Yeah, let Bear Lane. Tell the camp she gave me that Gluck 3000 Thunder Throat, but
the Sassara.
She did the Sassara for me. But I think Faile is a very complicated character that I think is written from a certain perspective that I think, I don't know, someone else talk. I've had a lot of
I mean, I definitely get it. And there are some things that Faile does that are with the best intentions from the get-go. Like, your mother is dead, your father is dead, your entire family is dead. You have to process that. That is something that is really done from a good place with good intentions, because she recognizes from growing up around military and troops that loss has to be grieved, it has to be processed, or it festers into something terrible. But
like killing your
like I said earlier,
talking about it for a number of episodes. What? I'm sorry, keep going.
I mean,
Pour one out for Layla.
Hashtag Layla.
I am not pouring out my alcohol for a fictitious character. Fictitious even in the book.
I'm pouring it out into my throat.
Fictitious even in
Yeah.
the books.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
But-
that was such a great line.
Also, fuck Farron. Fuck Farron. Fuck Farron.
Fuck Farron.
For his. Fuck Farron for when he sees, is it Layla? I think at Willow's scenes house. It's like, oh, she got fat. It's like, okay, your personality is your muscles and your beard. Like, relax, Farron.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
I still like the negative that I perceive and fail isn't even close for me, outweighed by the few good things that she does. I mean, 3 or 4 good deeds don't outweigh a lifetime of sins,
And I was gonna say,
which is
really
a bit of an
quick,
exaggeration on her, but I mean,
but
because you have 3 or 4
hear you.
shining moments, because
hear
you didn't
I
like,
see
oh,
you,
I'm just gonna blow the horn myself. I'm actually gonna give it to Oliver like I'm fucking supposed to for once.
yes,
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
the
like
big
it doesn't excuse
totally
everything
understood.
else that you've
totally
done.
get it.
Well, and so
Totally get
there are 4 moments that I do want to bring up as great examples of Faile being such a good person and or girlfriend and or just, character in general. Again, I could not be any more in agreement with Andrew that these things do not outweigh 12 books of her just being the worst. But there are 4. And that is number 1, when she first goes and
That was
sees
a no.
Farron work in the blacksmith shop and just sits with him and just goes, "You're really good at this. This is where you're comfortable. I fucking love you here."
Yes.
Miss
2
my
is
pussy.
when they get to the 2 rivers and she goes, "Hey, how about y'all shut the fuck up for a second? I know I've been astronomically horrible to Perrin for the last couple of weeks, but I am going to hold my boyfriend right now and be with him because he fucking needs it."
Yeah.
Everybody out.
Everyone out. Yes. We need the room,
Get out!
motherfuckers. 3 is when she shows up with the Terran farriers
Yes.
Yeah.
back to
Oh.
Emmonsfield and saves everybody in Emmonsfield's is fucking bacon.
Oh, yeah.
And
And she even
4
says-
is when she hands off the horn to Ulver and says, "I don't matter anymore. The only thing that matters is you getting this to Matrim Cawthon, and
Yeah.
I will give everything I have to get you there."
I
Those
would
are the
say
4 times when she is extremely selfless.
Number 5 when she killed Massima.
No, that does not count. That does not go in there. Fuck her for that. Again,
I will say-
I'm not saying it was necessarily a bad act. I mean, I do because I don't agree with fucking murder ever. Even capital punishment, I'm not a huge fan of. But that is a
Matt should
personal
have died.
thing. That is a personal thing, and I recognize that is a personal
He
thing.
did.
I'm not trying
twice.
Should have died at the end of the last battle.
to
I'm
tell
sorry.
anybody that they aren't allowed to think what I think because
Right.
you're good. But Massima does not go in there. Those are the 4 times that she was selfless. Massima does not fucking go in there. Hey,
So
hey,
He can't
So,
see me.
you put your hand away. You put your hand the fuck away.
so wrapping this thing up, I'm gonna say my final thoughts on Faile, and I
Do
know
it.
Okay.
Andrew's gonna hate it.
Let me go
Faile?
refill while I'm listening.
So if you hear screaming and a collapse of thud, you know it's Andrew having a stroke at what I'm about to say.
Let me move my bank so I can read that again.
Faile has a similar character maturity arc. Notice I'm being very specific. A similar character maturity
Don't
arc
use SAT words in front of me.
to Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
Huh.
In A New Hope, he's super whiny, super, but in Return of the Jedi, he's super badass and knows what the fuck he's doing. And there's a whole progression there.
Okay.
Faile starts out as
Josh gets.
I'm going to be a hero for the Horn. I'm going to impose my Saldean ways on Perrin. But by the end of the book, she understands that she's not the center of the universe, that she's part of a whole, and she needs to play as such. And so the maturity arc there, I think, is what she gets that Gawain does not get. And that's why I like her as a character rather than Duck Sauce Boy.
Oh yeah, Duck Sauce is infinitely worse. But
that's my final thought.
What part of that was I gonna scream?
Oh, that he compared him to Luke Skywalker.
The comparison to Luke.
Yeah.
I'm not nearly enough of a I almost said Wheel of Time nerd, Star Wars nerd to really care.
Not enough
because
of a Wheel of Time nerd.
From my Black Tower podcast. I don't like fuck Wheel of Time.
I mean,
I actually really hate the books. It's gonna come clean with you guys.
I'm just here to shit on the story.
These last 4 years have been fucking pain.
That's my.
But college. Like Christian Bale in The Prestige, I needed to live my lie.
Yeah. My final thoughts on Faile are this. I love her. She has some problematic aspects. However, I side with her more than I do with Perrin, because I think when you have an implicit trust with someone, when you have traveled from wherever they were when they found Gaul to Ilion and then to Tyr, when you have shared a sort of bonding experience, there is a sort of implicit trust that we kind of got each other's back, especially when he saves her from the hedgehog trap. I think for him to go behind her back and like kind of try to whisk her away without any sort of communication, I get why she was so furious. And I get this also when he shoves her out of the room during the bubble of evil. I get the anger with that. And I get this sort of, you're going to kill yourself after giving me a speech of how you need to protect people. Like, that does not stand. And I get both sides of the argument, but at the same time, like, if I was with someone and there was just no communication, the sort of like, I'm sending you away, and it's like, but where are you going to go? Don't worry about it. It's like, no. Sit down, talk with me, have this out. And I get her passive aggressiveness in the ways. Do I agree with her bitch slapping him hard across the face and then him spanking her? Absolutely not. But I get where they both are coming from. Right. And I'm not
like a child, get treated like a child. Fuck around and find out.
That's right.
As the poetess Monique once said on Flavor of Love Charm School, you see, when you do clownery, the clown comes back to bite. And I think Perrin and Faile commit some bits of clownery. And I think it's owed to a lot of their naivete of them never having been in a real romantic relationship. And I think Davram and Miss Thang, I don't know if they're pillars of what a romantic relationship should be, but they are pillars of a Saldaean relationship. But we all are also viewing it from an Andorran perspective. Selma Hayek as Lady Bashere. Anyway, and Antonio Banderas as Davram Bashere. I suddenly am very anyhow.
Oh my god, if Antonio Banderas plays Daddy Davram, I will lose my shit.
Though I do view
he's too tall, but also yes.
I think I always pictured Saldaeans as either Mongolian based or Middle Eastern based. But I think Saldaean culture is so complex, and I wish we got more of it to kind of explore more of the past the BDSM side of it. But I also think when Eric and I on Loial's Book Club, anchor.com/fm/Loial's Book Club, we're discussing this, I think Faile's sort of thesis is don't treat me as a child. Now, when you are a certain age, you get that sort of growing pains of I'm an adult now, I'm this. I think when you get to a certain age, you have that sort of naivete experience. Think when we were in college, I think we thought us all grown up and adults. But like looking back, we can kind of go, no, you didn't know anything. And I think Faile is that sort of person of, I did all this, I traveled the world, I did this, I swore in this as a hunter of the horn. It's like, that's great. But have you had people experience? No, clearly not. And I think there's a lot of growing up that Faile needed to do. And I think there's a lot of growing up Perrin needed to do. They just did it under the most unfortunate fucking circumstances of the world is coming to an end and we have to be ready, And so I think under those sort of circumstances of stress, I think emotions are high. I'd be very curious to see what Perrin and Faile are like when, they have to like go to Denny's or something, when they're not dealt with the absolute highest stakes you could be dealt with. But final thoughts, I like Faile. She's in my top 10, but she is nowhere near where Cat Swain and Egwene, Egwene is top 4. Cat Swain is like 6. I love Egwene. Egwene is a fucking phenomenal character.
I love Egwene as well. That wasn't the shock face.
I love Egwene after a point.
I love Egwene. Egwene is actually, it goes Nynaeve, Egwene, Matt, Rand.
Andrew, final thoughts.
One of the first time readers that I work with would absolutely love you. Because I asked him the other day who his top 3 were, and his top 3 in order were Egwene, Nynaeve, and Matt.
If you guys ever have an Egwene episode,
I can't be mad at.
I will hop on.
Nynaeve in
we'll see.
The first
if
half
we
of the
do an
series,
Egwene episode, then we kind of have to, by metrics, do a Gawain episode. But I'm down to record like an hour-long episode, and like 55 minutes is just a picture of a duck sauce packet.
I can absolutely talk about Gawain for an hour.
Oh, I can talk
and
about
why
Gawain
he's
for an
the
hour.
same as Elaine.
I'm gonna murder everything that you love, and then you.
Gawain is a fairy tale knight in the wrong story, and I think that's
Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Thank
he
you.
is. If you
That would explain
put
why
him
he never
out
does anything.
and you put him in like a
Yeah,
fairy
he doesn't
tale, it's
have
like,
a princess to save.
and I think, but I also think,
Sorry, Gawain, your princess is in another castle.
And I am
Sorry,
not a
Gawain,
Gawain
your
fan.
princess is in another book series.
I am not a Gawain fan by any measure. I'm a Gallas fan above all. I think he is someone who has had his life planned out for him, and then the rug was pulled out from underneath him, and he didn't know how to process that. Doesn't excuse him hearing Rand being tortured and him going, kill my mom. Like, fuck you, girl. Like, sorry, Egwene won't fuck you or something, whatever.
Sorry, incel.
Since we're kind of starting final thoughts with quotes, I'm going to pull one from somebody. And if you absolutely hate all things preachers and religion, by all means, feel free to completely discount it. Do whatever you want.
I have my Catholic school trauma, but
I mean, by all means, discount it is perfectly fine, but it's still a quote by a notable figure.
That's the after
Nevertheless, this quote is from Charles H. Spurgeon. And it says, if we do wrong and no harm comes of it, we are not thereby justified. If we did evil and good came of it, the evil would be just as evil. It is not the result of the action, but the action itself, which God weighs. Faile committing insubordination, committing direct opposition to the person she claims to love, and not working with him on these decisions, but rather looking at herself as like, no, I can train him, is why I have such a big problem with Faile.
I just feel like I can fix him.
I can fix him.
So much of the series is spent
He's even
with
also a dog in so many ways. So just I can just put a leash on him and
Me with
so much.
me with the Trollocs, I can fix him. Me with Massima on the show, I can fix him.
New kink unlocked.
So much of Faile's interaction with Perrin is completely, it's probably not the right word, but ethnocentric. From the eyes of Saldea, this is how we do things at Saldea. This is how you should do things. Oh, I don't know. On the opposite fucking side of the continent. And it takes her so long to finally recognize that, hey, you are young. just like your boyfriend / husband. Your entire culture is not the most correct culture. Other people
better than yours.
Other people exist, and eventually she goes in with the core theme of the books. The core theme being balance, being compromise, being working together, being assimilating the best parts of the intrinsic whole to come away with something better. It takes Faile so long to do that. And I don't know why, but I have this innate feeling that a lot of the justification for Faile being a good character is because of the actions she takes that remove agency of action from other figures in the story. It's kind of like, almost seems like I'm tired of reading about Perrin thinking about this. I just want to see something happen. And I'm thankful that I finally see something happen. And now I'm back on the fence because here's 2 books of her being a captive of a group.
Yeah.
So I can't. Faile is a character that
you can't even. It's okay.
That as of this point in December 2021, I have yet to be convinced that she is anything more than a well-written character. I don't like the style of person she is. I think she's a well-written character for the story, but as far as a person, putting it nicely, is not a person I would have anywhere near my life.
Exactly. Fair. That's Egwene for me.
Now, normally the guest gets.
I don't want Egwene in my life
final.
Either. Fuck that shit.
No, I don't want to go to brunch with Egwene. I'll go to brunch with Elaine, maybe 9 a.m.
Dude, I want to go to spin class with Egwene, but I don't want to go out for brunch. Fuck talking about Egwene.
I don't
She's
want
the
anything
worst.
where I don't want to engage in any team behavior with Egwene. Egwene very much feels like once she gets the advantage in spin class, she'll be like, well, I did 6 miles. It's like, this isn't a competition. We're all sweating at this 24-hour fitness. We're all going to get
that's my whole point, is that Egwene is going to be like, I got 6 miles. And I'm like, all right, cool. I guess I need to get 6 miles now.
Good for you. Daniel, bring us home with Faile. All
right. I am going to be a little bit of the sort of center field here. And that is that, again, I am not a Faile fan. I think that she is written very well, but I think that her characterization, while it is well done, is obnoxious. Now, again, I think that our lovely guest from Loial's Book Club, has made some really good points. I really do. And I have not glossed over those. And I have not tried to rip them to shreds, because some of them have absolutely resonated with me.
And you're allowed to.
I do actually like Faile better after this episode than I did before.
So you received your dose of madness,
right? I don't think that I still like her overall to a great degree, and she's 100% not in my top 10. But I definitely understand her a little bit better. Thanks to differing opinions that have been brought up here and different facts that have been brought onto the show. I love that.
You mean civil discourse and dialogue has increased your understanding?
You're allowed.
We don't do that here. This is America. We don't do that here. We just shout to the other side. Shut up.
Opinion about a character.
This is America.
And I think that's the beauty of enjoying Wheel of Time and these characters and what Robert Jordan created. You're allowed to
100%.
go. But I think it's like, I love hearing differing opinions of why maybe Faile isn't in your top 10. And I think that's the beauty of this podcast. Is Agreed. I think there's a discussion. It's not. I think if we all loved Faile, if we all loved Gowan, if we all loved Nynaeve, if we didn't
just be sitting there doing this for like an hour and a half.
No. We'd be doing this.
Sorry, I apologize.
We can, but even with the characters that I love, like I love Nynaeve, but I can also see, you're like, you take a lot of getting used to. And Egwene, I think the beauty of
did she take getting used to, or did she take changing as a character? Because those are two different things.
A little bit of both. But I think that is the beauty I think that is the beauty of discussion and debate in general. And I think that speaks more to the world of Robert Jordan and what he created. The fact that there are characters that nobody I think is 100% agreed on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think
absolutely.
You will find some people who love Cat Swain, people who absolutely fucking hate Cat Swain. That's
a different episode.
Yeah, we haven't. Don't get that one. We're trying to wrap this up. Don't get that started.
So here's the good question here. After this discussion, raise your hand if there's anybody that loves the show or the series any less. For those of you listening, nobody's raised their hand.
That is 0.
Raise your hand if you think you love the show or the series even more after the discussion.
That's 4 out of 4.
All 4 of us raised our hand.
Yeah.
No,
so it points to the thing like this discourse about characters, and I know Daniel still has points to make. But I felt it was the opportune time to bring this up. It's this discourse, this discussion about the characters, these differing opinions that is part of what makes the Wheel of Time as a book series and as a TV show so incredible for those of us that are fans of the series, that are fans 100%. Of the show. The 100%. Ability to get together, have this discourse, talk about things, and have people like me that vehemently can't stand Faile, and to have other folks that think that Faile is in their top 10, or that Faile is in their top 10. I don't want to say think because it seems to undermine like your opinion.
I don't think I know.
Actually, yeah. I mean, and we're all still having fun. It's just a discussion, and we're not ending this by I don't know, blocking each other on fucking Twitter because
there isn't an answer to this question. Each person, and that was actually my last point. I mean, I don't want to necessarily stand here and be the like fucking I'm from Los Angeles and I'm a liberal person and everybody's happy and everybody gets everything. No, but at the end of the day, that is the point of these books.
Yeah.
I think that Robert Jordan wrote 15 books without an answer.
Understand very well.
We've had discussions on whether the Dark One might have actually had some good points. Like, again, the whole series is about complicated life and human beings. And in the end,
and self-interest, and where self-interest
and lack of communication and all of this different stuff. And there are different rules in Robert Jordan's books. There are different things in Robert Jordan's books, and they explore what humanity is like when you change a handful of things. And I will always appreciate the series. I will always appreciate this podcast, and I will always appreciate our guests and my co-hosts for the fact that we do not agree on every question.
It makes the soup that much flavor.
It does. And the fact that everybody comes in here with receipts. Nobody is ever wrong. Everybody is right for themselves. So if you are sitting here and you are saying Faile is my favorite fucking character, bring your receipts and I will 100% agree with you. Not for me, but for you. And that's what matters. If you come in and say I fucking hate Faile, I will agree with you if you bring receipts. For you, not for me, because you bring that opinion to the table. And I think that Faile is actually one of the better characters to have this discussion about. And Faile is one of the better characters to go ahead and get a lot of differing opinions about, because she is a polarizing character.
Yeah,
and so my final thoughts can be wrapped up in literally just Robert Jordan wrote a really, really good characterization of a really polarizing character, and I am here for it. Regardless of my actual feelings 100%. On that character, Robert Jordan wrote really well a polarizing character, and I'm here for this.
So, and I think, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, and my final point is, I think Robert Jordan did a great job of, I view Wheel of Time as a deconstruction of a Gleeman story, where everything is,
I love
you have the standard archetypes of a story where, of course, you're going to like the princess, of course, you're going to like the hero, where I think everything is so black and white. And I think, real quick, why I think the ending of Wheel of Time is so phenomenal is because, no, this isn't a Gleeman story. There are so many open endings to life, into the people that you know, into the people that you love, and the people that you met. that I think there are people in your life who are a little bit of cat flame's all I need, a little bit of fire, a little bit of Andrew.
I fucking love you, man.
I think all these characters are little figments of the people that play into our lives a little bit. And I think that is the beauty of Wheel of Time, is that there are people that maybe you don't like, people who are, you can see Faile in them. You don't like the people who you can see Gawain or Cat Swain or Galena or Leandrin, or you love the people who you can see a little bit of Madden. There are some things in these characters that are like humans. And I think that's what he did. He wrote humans.
Perfect.
And humans are not perfect. Humans have their own motives and their own reason. And
Absolutely.
whether, and I think that's the beauty of Faile. And I think that's the beauty of Faile, is you don't agree, and that's fine. There are some people who will go.
Absolutely.
Like our guest here, for example.
You know what? Yeah. First off, 100% to the Wheel of Time showrunners. Screw you. I hate you and I love you for making me like Leandrin, because I both love her and hate her.
Leandrin. You like Kate Fleetwood.
Shut your mouth. Saying, even the writing is just great. Daylin,
your mouth.
Tell us where people can find Loial's book club.
You can find Loial's book club on, I'm putting my sober voice on now. You can find Loial's book club on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other places where you find your delightful podcast. We also have our server where we will attempt to record weekly. I will link that in the description below. And yeah.
Loial's book clubs can be found anywhere you find podcasts, and also.
Absolutely. So, Daylin, first off, thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you guys for having me on. It's been one of those shows. Black Tower Podcast has been one of those podcasts where I've been like, when will it go on? I've been that eager young guy standing in the wing going, let me on, boss.
Let me in, coach. Well,
I could do it.
I can sincerely say that it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. It's been an absolute delight. We have loved having this conversation about a very divisive character in the Wheel of Time, but that's what we love about these books. So, guys, whoever's listening, whoever's watching, whoever's participating in any way, go check out Loial's book club. It is super cool, guys. Thank you so much for being here, Daylin.
Yeah, two wild and loyal guys.
Check out The Great Blight. If you want more information on Faile, go to thegreatblight.com. Go into their wiki and look for Faile Bashere.
That's where the three of us, at least from BTP, pulled our notes from for this episode. That was our constantly up reference.
Also, I do want to throw out there, if you are currently on book 6 or book 8 or book 12, it is set up in such a way that if you plug in Faile Bashere into the Great Blight and then you start scrolling down, it will say
book by book
Eye
summaries.
of the World. Faile Bashere is not present in this book. Next one. She is, blah, blah, blah. All of the different things that are important so that you do not get spoiled on events that you have not seen yet. So enjoy yourself, get to wherever you are, and please, the Great Blight is such a good resource. Go there, enjoy the wiki, enjoy the list of content creators. If you don't have enough content creators in your life, I guarantee you will.
But honestly, what content creators more do you need than Black Tower and Loial's book club? Honestly,
I mean,
I wasn't gonna say that, but I'm glad someone did.
So thank you.
I am the Faile of this episode. I will say what needs to be said.
If you want more either Wheel of Time content creator or just Wheel of Time inspired merch, make sure you check out New Creations by Jen. They're fantastic. They make some epic, dope merch. Go and check them out. They got some fantastic stuff. And finally here, if you are not already aware, there's a new Wheel of Time convention in town. anybody watching the episode or listening to the episode probably won't hear this because I'm probably just going to throw in the. Well, no, they're going to hear it.
Oh, they better hear it.
Because anybody listening is going to have to hear it because YouTube.
Tainty boys are going to be there.
Yeah, because YouTube is going to get the WhatCon promo video. So if you're not watching us on YouTube, go and watch over on YouTube, and please hit that subscribe button, the like button, hit the bell if you want to get notifications, all that fun stuff. Because we are trying to grow the YouTube audience.
Like button. Oh god.
Yeah. But we will both be at JordanCon and at WhatCon, where at WhatCon, your boy here, Andrew, is the director of people. So I don't have a choice. He's gonna be busy working, but I'd be there either way.
Yeah,
but make sure you come out.
Great. Josh and I are gonna be drunk as fuck, and Andrew's gonna be like, "I gotta do people."
JordanCon water.
Oh no, I'm gonna have like business hours set up where like between the hours of X and Y, Andrew's drunk as fuck. Don't ask me questions.
Between the hours of X and X, I am going to be so drunk on Tanchico sunsets, I will fucking kill you.
Yep. That is the official drink of the Black Tower for the next year, by the way.
I'm going to be so drunk at JordanCon. I'll be promoting this podcast as Black Bower.
Cannot wait.
Works.
Cannot wait.
We are bringing the mixology book with us. Mm-hmm. We're bringing a mixology book with us to JordanCon and WhatCon, and we'll see.
And another surprise.
And we'll see if the bars there are willing / able to make the drinks. But that is neither here nor there. That is in the future. We hope to see you there. And thank you so much for listening. Again, I know Josh has already said it, but Daylin, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for coming on this episode.
Having me on.
To talk about such a polarizing character that is Faile.
Spoke too soon, Daylin.
I did. That's what we've done for like the last hour and a half, 2 hours.
It's true.
It's been absolutely, honestly fantastic. And
so
if
fun.
you couldn't tell, you can tell by the length of this episode because it's probably longer than most of our normal ones. Nice.
It did go a little bit over.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
That's okay.
But from all of us here at the Black Tower podcast, thank you so much for listening. We look forward to seeing you every week. I have been your Bajan Mahal, Andrew.
I have been your Sorban Mahal, your storm leader, Josh.
And I have been your Amin Khan Mahal, Daniel. And again, seriously, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this wonderful episode. God. We hope that everything that you want to be happening right now, this morning, this afternoon, whatever it is for you, is happening for you and to you and with you. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon and good evening. Good show.
In the tower, you can bring your pain. In the tower, you can feel the strain. You've been having so much trouble just fitting